80% of falls in the home occur in the bathroom. Don't put yourself or a loved one at risk. There's a safe bathing system for everyone's budget.
Enjoy a bathing experience that combines safety, comfort, and excellence. If assisted living is not for you, a BCI walk-in tub may well be the answer, giving you the safety and freedom to live independently. A BCI walk-in tub is the most affordable and comfortable walk-in tub in the market today. With our dual drain technology, your tub will drain quickly, and for those that still like the feature of a shower, our two-way bliss gives you both a handheld and overhead shower head. We offer the best financing in the industry with payments as low as $99 per month or no interest, no payments for 18 months with approved credit. For comfort, safety, price, and selection, it's got to be BCI Walk-In Tub. Be one of the first 50 callers and save $1,500.
Call 800-354-4377, 800-354-4377 for a free no obligation in-home consultation.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to another edition of the Turnpike Sports Book Report. I'm Doug Weischadle here with Dave Weischadle. We're here to give you a 30-minute whip-around look at some of the big news that came out of the sports betting industry in this past week. As always, keep the press releases coming in, info@turnpikesportsradio.com. That's the email address to send them over to us for the show. This week's numbers section. Before we even get into anything, we've got a whole bunch of different state and national reports to hit. We've got a new state to talk about as well.
Yes, Kansas, right?
Kansas.
Yep.
Kansas has now launched. I guess that's the closest thing you can say to a rocket launch. Over in the deal, also in the numbers segment, we've got some updates from New York, Colorado, as well as Virginia.
Okay, yeah.
We got a few deals involving BetMGM. We've got a Golden Nugget deal, as well as a Canadian Football League deal to talk about.
Oh, okay. When does that season start?
That I don't know. I have to take a look at that.
I have no idea when that season starts. I used to watch it, too, as a kid. I mean, I used to love it, and I can't remember when I was watching it.
Hey, 3 downs, wider field.
Sure, sure.
That was actually kind of fun.
Oh, my God. It's like a pasture.
Exactly.
It's huge.
Industry update segment. We've got the Kansas launch to talk about. We'll go a little bit more in depth there.
Okay.
We've got some news coming out of New Jersey. We've got launches in Washington State, Louisiana, even Nevada to talk about.
Okay.
And we're going to finish it up with our legislative roundup. We've got state news coming out of Massachusetts, New York, even Maryland.
News out of Massachusetts, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Not what you think it is.
Okay.
Yes. But let's start off as we always do.
I'm not even thinking of anything in Massachusetts. I'm just
not a lot of people think of
out.
Massachusetts for this stuff. But right now, let's start off with some numbers. Well, last week we had the Arizona reporting their June numbers. And what that means is we can now close the book on June of 2022.
Yeah, no. Thanks for showing up to the party, Arizona.
Exactly. We've got
that's June numbers, right?
These are
Arizona.
June numbers.
Okay.
These are June numbers. We've got the final June numbers. We've got the final second quarter numbers for this year.
Oh, okay.
And also we've got the final June top 10 in handle.
Okay. All right.
For the states.
All right.
Let's start with the actual numbers. We've got a handle of, this is for June only.
And this is for
June of 2022.
And this is for the United States.
This is national.
This is national for June. Okay.
Handle of $5.479 billion.
Wow.
GGR, gross gaming revenue of $332 million, just under $333 million. Adjusted gross revenue, because some states do remove the promos and the free bets and other deductions that are listed in the gross gaming revenue. Adjusted gaming revenue across the country was about $276 million, and a national hold of about 6%.
Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And taxes brought in for the country, the individual states, you total them up, $71 million. Now, the one thing I noticed about the gross gaming revenue and the adjusted gaming revenue, and I think some of the other states around the country are noticing this too, there's about a $50 million difference in terms of deductions from the gross gaming revenue.
It all depends on, like you said, deductions and the promos and the bonuses and things like that. Look, in this country, if you want to start a sports book, you get a good lawyer and a good accountant.
Yes.
And you're all set.
Well, a lot of the states are now closing out the deduction window.
Yeah.
I know Virginia just passed theirs. We've got a whole bunch of other states changing their laws to avoid that, because if you look at it, $50 million difference in the revenue.
Yeah.
That adds, if you're taxing around 10%, that's another $5 million in taxes.
Yeah.
So you got to
look. Sports betting. Sports
like
betting has been good for everyone, but it's been really good for the accountants.
Yeah.
Boy, every week they have to go through everything. It's the accounting profession has really, really benefited from sports betting.
Yes, and we've got for the second quarter of this year, we've got handle of just under $20 billion, 19.6.
That's for the first quarter.
This is second quarter.
Second quarter
of this year alone.
Okay.
So we have $19.65 billion handle, gross gaming $1.469 billion.
Okay.
Adjusted gross revenue $1.267 billion. There's a $200 million difference between those numbers. There's even more tax money. Mm-hmm. National hold for the quarter was about 7.5%. And then we've got taxes coming in around $303 million.
Wow. Okay.
So
good.
You're looking at, if, the promo difference, again, I hate to keep hitting that one, but it's kind of obvious now.
Yeah.
You're looking at another additional $20 million possibly coming into state coffers.
Sure.
Top 10 for June of 2022.
Wait, can I guess top 5? I always like doing it. For June anyway?
This is just for
June. Is it
June.
always the same thing? It's New York, New Jersey. I'm going to say Illinois and then Nevada and then Pennsylvania.
Yep, you got them.
Okay, all right.
The only thing that's changing is maybe New Jersey and Illinois, because they were very close to each other this past month. New York was $1.06 billion. They're going to always be doing that. Although they had a couple of weeks here coming, the last couple of weeks they were under $200 million in handle. Sure. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly where they go.
I'm very curious I guess I have to wait till January to see if my prediction was I think Ohio is going to nudge out Pennsylvania for that 5th spot. So I'm very curious to see if that happens.
I think at some point you may see Ohio even nudge out Nevada.
Ooh, I don't know.
I just have a feeling Nevada maybe that if Illinois is that big of a market, Ohio's going to be just as big. I think.
I don't know. Illinois got Chicago in it, so that's a game changer. Anytime you have a huge city like that.
Well, right now for June we had only one $1 billion winner there. That was New York.
New York,
New Jersey, and Illinois were separated by about $5 million.
Well, okay.
$633.2 million for Jersey, $628.5 million for Illinois. Mm-hmm. Nevada came in just under $500 million. Pennsylvania just under $400 million. So we're starting to see some separation.
All right.
The top, then the middle of at least in the top 5, it's becoming very obvious.
I cannot wait to see what this fall brings for the numbers with college football and the NFL, and they're the kings of sports betting, and they're the ones that bring in the most money, and I'm very curious to see how. I mean, this is going to be, I guess it's New York's first football season,
both college and pro.
Yeah, for both college and pro for mobile betting. So
yes.
I'm very curious to see how that works.
And actually, it's going to be their first full sean for when the NBA starts up again. Their first NHL season. One
of the great things is we're going to know right away how college football, how the New York numbers for college football, because New York sends them out weekly, their numbers weekly. So I'm eagerly awaiting, the numbers for the first week of college football.
Well, I'm very curious to see when Illinois overtakes Jersey, but I don't think it's going to happen during football season. New Jersey seems to kick it up a notch.
Oh yeah,
for football. So I don't know how much more Illinois' momentum is going to carry through the football season, but I think New Jersey is going to offset.
Well, New Jersey has a lot of
numbers,
more local teams, and
yes.
When I say local, I mean the New York Jets, New York Giants, who both play in New Jersey, and also across the river you have the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well,
and for some reason we have a lot of Pittsburgh Steeler fans in New Jersey. It's very interesting.
Well, I think you gotta there's some AFC fans versus NFC.
Maybe
if they don't want to do the Jets, they're going to go to the Steelers.
Or no, they got Baltimore.
Also, you
too.
have a lot of Pennsylvania transplants in New Jersey and vice versa. So, people went to school in Pennsylvania and grew up watching the Pennsylvania teams more so than the Jersey teams.
Sure.
Or the New York teams. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But again, top 10 rounded out. We got the bottom two were Michigan and Indiana, both brought in about $300 million and $250 million each. New York. We always have to talk New York.
Mm-hmm.
This past week, the week ending August 28th. Is the numbers we're going to be talking about.
Okay, I'm trying to think of no.
The college football season is not involved
okay,
in
this doesn't include college football.
I think you're going to see a huge bump.
That's what I'm waiting for. That's the number. Those are the numbers I'm waiting for from New York.
The next week's reports are going to be more telling for New York.
Okay, that's what I'm waiting for. Yeah.
But with the $194 million handle that they brought in this past week, again, I think it's 4 out of the last 5 weeks are under $200 million handle.
Mm-hmm.
They crossed the $10 billion mark in handle.
Wow.
They may be the fastest.
I would guess,
to $10 billion.
I mean, these numbers are stunning. Even though it's been kind of a lull these last couple of weeks for New York, they're still amazing numbers.
So we have New York crossing $10 billion. And again, this past week, I do this every week, but I just want to see if it changes at all. We've got the top 4, FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, and BetMGM.
Okay. They own the state, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it, 92, 93% of the market or something like that?
The total handle for the week was $194.5 million. That's all 9 operators.
Okay.
Those 4, FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, and BetMGM, brought in $180.9 million of it.
Okay.
93%.
93%. Wow.
And I've been looking back. I look back at some of the numbers I put out every week for New York, and you're talking these 4, 93, 92, 94.
Yeah, no, it's been great.
They are basically
great
controlling
for
the market.
Yeah.
I did notice one thing that was kind of interesting. First, early on, BetMGM had a better lead over Caesars, and now they've kind of flipped.
Okay.
So that's kind of be interesting to watch. I don't know if Caesars can withstand or can gain any momentum without another ad blitz. I mean, Caesars led the state when they did the ad blitz.
We get a lot of New York media in New Jersey, and I'm very curious to see the advertisements I see when the football season gets really going and heated up.
Yes.
It should be interesting.
Virginia became the 8th state to surpass $500 million in gross gaming revenue in post-PASPA era. They joined Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania.
Let me tell you something. Virginia's first casino is kicking butt.
Yes,
Boy,
yes.
I'm
very curious to see what happens when the retail.
What's the official name of it? Is it everyone I've talked to said the Bristol Casino, but is it Hard Rock Bristol Casino or Hard Rock Casino at Bristol? I know it's a Hard Rock property, and they're building the permanent one.
It really does depend on who you talk
to.
The
Bristol Casino. I keep calling it the Bristol
Casino. Right now,
Casino,
it's called the Bristol Casino because the permanent Hard Rock Casino Bristol or Hard Rock Bristol
is presently being built.
Is going to be finished sometime later on in next year or early 2024.
All right.
So, but again, everyone's referring to it as the Bristol Casino.
Yeah. Boy, and is doing great.
Yes. And with Virginia's report for July, they brought in $266 million in handle. They have pushed the national handle right now, currently, and this number is going to constantly change, is now over $50 billion for this year, 2022. The entire 2021 national handle for all of last year, 2021, was $57 billion.
Wow, that's incredible.
With more and more,
5 years ago, we have never been talking about these types of numbers. I don't even think we were imagining these types of numbers.
No.
So.
And last but not least for the deals, we have Colorado. They reported their July numbers, and really the most important number that jumped out at me was table tennis again. Really?
Yes.
Well,
table tennis was the 7th ranked sport.
I keep going, ugh, but you know what? If people
Yes.
like betting it, good. And if they do well betting it, great. Was it Colorado and Oregon?
Right.
Those are the, I guess, the lead states for table tennis. If you like table tennis and you like betting on table tennis, it's there's a lot of people in Colorado and Oregon that agree with you. So.
Well, Colorado, table tennis, 7th top sport by handle, brought in $4 million this past month.
At one time, it was like the 6th or 5th top sport bet on.
Well, with July's report,
Okay.
the all-time table tennis handle in Colorado passed $200 million.
Wow. Okay.
I never would have thought table tennis would be that type of sport for terms of betting, but
it's amazing what
the pandemic
let me
did it.
tell you something. I put money on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, so I'm not, I'm not saying anything against anyone who, whatever sport you want to bet on, fine. And by the way, I'm calling Nathan's hot dog eating contest a sport. Okay. That's
well, it's extreme eating.
Extreme eating. So.
Well, let's head on over to some deals. This past week's deals feature a couple that were involving BetMGM. BetMGM announced a multi-year partnership with the Kansas City Chiefs to become one of the team's first sports betting partners.
Great.
Under the agreement, BetMGM will have signage all across GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium.
So that's what it's called. I always called it Arrowhead. What is it now?
It's GEHA Field at
Okay.
Arrowhead Stadium.
All right.
GEHA is let me get it right here, the Government Employees Health Association.
Okay.
Now,
But does everyone still call it
They call it-
Arrowhead?
they-
I mean, if you're in
that's the short
Kansas,
form.
if you're in Kansas City, does everyone?
its formal name is GEHA.
It's
Field.
Arrowhead Stadium.
As a matter of fact,
Okay.
if you go to the Chiefs website,
yeah,
they
well,
have a section where it says GEHA Field at Arrowhead
well,
Stadium.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
they paid for it. They should get.
I actually
signage.
had to look
But I'm
that
just
up.
saying, who refers to it as that? you
Well,
know?
I would assume the people who made the title deal for that. But GEHA is started in 1937. It was for the rail workers in Kansas City.
Okay.
That's like Geico, the government insurance.
Yeah.
the government
no,
employees
I understand
insurance
that.
company. So
I'm just seeing what people refer to. I mean, hey,
I always call it Arrowhead. So
in Meadowlands, I still keep calling it Giant Stadium. I just can't get it out of my head.
I'm sure the Jets love
I think
that.
I called Philly Veteran Stadium one time a couple weeks ago. I don't
Well,
know
you
what the hell
grew
I
up-
was thinking. Well,
you know, when we were growing up, naming rights were not really
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big thing in the news. I mean, you just referred to it as whatever it was.
Okay.
But BetMGM content will also be featured across Chiefs digital channels, as well as special offers with game day experiences, prizes. Fans, season ticket members will all be available to get that. And again, it's one of those types of deals. I know the Chiefs have something with Caesars Digital. I saw a couple reports about that. I haven't really tracked down exactly what that deal is, but I just wanted to let you know that there is also a deal for Caesars with Kansas City as well.
First off, at one point, all NFL teams are
Yes.
going to have a gaming partner or gambling partner or casino partner, whatever they're calling it.
Well, BetMGM's other deal is a little bit less mainstream, I would say,
Okay.
or less obvious, I should say.
All right.
They did a deal with a comedy network
Oh,
called
okay.
Almost Friday.
Almost Friday.
Now, according to the press release, Almost Friday has about 25 different brands with 120 million impressions per week.
What are they anyway? Is it
They're a comedy network.
I mean, when you say comedy network,
I
what do you
took a
mean,
look.
a television thing?
They're
or-
streaming. They're streaming OTT.
Okay.
Their Twitter. Their Twitch. All those different things.
All right, I'll check it out.
What's it called again?
Almost Friday.
Almost Friday.
I went to their website. I didn't recognize really a lot of the shows.
Okay. Well,
it's sad to say, but the reason I think this deal was made, when you really look at Almost Friday Media, which is the company doing the deal itself, they're a Mark Cuban company.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
look,
I
want to check it out.
I important part of this deal.
I wrote it down. I want to check it out.
Golden Nugget Online Gaming did a deal with Boot Hill Casino.
All right.
For Kansas, that could be online gaming as well as online sports betting. The CFL, the Canadian Football League.
Here we go. Okay, I was waiting for this one.
They did a deal with Genius Sports to create and launch the CFL Blitz Picks free-to-play game.
Okay.
Basically, it's a predictor game. The typical free-to-play game. It's going to be in collaboration with BetRegal.
Okay.
We don't talk too much about some of the Canadian operators.
Yeah, we should. I mean, Canada. They
has a couple.
They
deals.
just released their numbers too in
Yes.
Canada, so Canada is going to be in the news a lot.
Well,
but like I said, I don't know when the CFL plays. I used to remember when the CFL played, but now I don't.
I don't know. We're going to have to look that up.
And I used to watch them on ESPN when I was a kid.
Hey, we might
so
have
I
to
don't
do
know.
some research and
Yeah,
look that up.
I know. Right?
Google it.
Yeah.
But again, CFL Blitz Picks will allow the fans of CFL to test their knowledge of players and teams every week, and they're going to be competing for season tickets and jerseys and
good.
all other prizes from around the league. That's going to be part of a whole bunch of different free-to-play options. There's going to be about maybe 4 or 5 different free-to-play games offered by the CFL, and that's not including what the teams are individually going to be offering too.
Okay.
So it was kind of an interesting deal to see the CFL make something like that for free-to-play picks, but when the season starts, there's going to be a lot more to do watching the CFL in terms of what the fans can win.
Okay.
So it'll be fun to watch. Let's head on over to some industry updates.
All right.
Before we get into a little bit more of a detailed look in the Kansas launch, let's talk about some of the other launches that happened around the country. We have Profit Exchange launching in New Jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
The very first legal sports betting exchange in the United States.
Yeah, no, it's kind of historic.
Yes.
I should have wore my Profit T-shirt. They gave us T-shirts. It was pretty cool.
They also had the very first legal sports betting exchange better done.
Oh, okay.
We have the NFL World Champion and brand ambassador Victor Cruz.
Oh, cool. All right.
He made the first pair of bets on the exchange. He actually matched 2 $100 bets with other people on Profit.
Okay.
He did. I got him here. So
okay, good.
He did the Giants plus 5.5 at plus 100 even against the Tennessee Titans in week 1.
Okay.
Matter of fact, Tennessee just lost their big pass rusher for the season, ACL. So that actually may end up being a pretty good bet there.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, he did one for the same game, one on the Giants at money line at
Okay.
plus 230.
He's all in on the Giants.
Well,
so.
he's
it's
former NFL
Jersey.
Giant
Yeah,
there,
yeah. So
Washington State, Betfred, and the Lummi Nation launched a new sports book in the state with the first bet made by Warren Moon.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen Warren Moon
No,
in years,
that's great.
and it was actually kind of fun to see.
Speaking of Canadian football.
Exactly. Well, and also Houston Oilers.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he made he was like one of the best that ever played in Canada.
He had such a cannon.
Was
for
it?
an arm.
It's like 5 Grey Cups. Is that what they or
Yeah.
something like that? I know a ton of Grey Cups he won.
But I just loved watching him play. Him and Jim Kelly were 2 of my favorite quarterbacks back then. Just seeing him throw everything all around the fields was fun.
Yeah.
We've got in Iowa Clutch Bet, which is a subsidiary of Australian-based Blue Bet, approved to launch sports betting.
Okay.
They are going to be the 18th operating sportsbook in that state. So they're getting up there, too. They're coming close to New Jersey. New Jersey's got 22 or something like that.
Well, what's the big one is Colorado.
Colorado's got 25 right now.
Okay.
So we've got Boyd and FanDuel. They finally got approval to go ahead with the planned FanDuel Sportsbook at the Fremont.
Good. Yeah.
That's going to be opening either late 2022 or early 2023.
Believe it or not, late 2022.
We are in late 2022.
it's like, wait, what, 2 months away? Okay.
Well, it's interesting because this was important. This is FanDuel's first step into Nevada.
Yeah.
And they're going to be branding the book, but they're not going to be running it.
Oh, okay.
Boyd is going to be running it. FanDuel is going to be advising. And Boyd and FanDuel had this agreement already for 12 other retail books, right, in 6 other states.
Yeah.
So this is a tried and true partnership here. Let's talk Kansas.
Yeah. Boy, so they are the fastest state from passing the law to opening up, right?
They opened on September. They did the soft
launch
launch
September 1st.
September 1st, that's 81 days.
Okay. Wow.
The nearest one was, I think, Iowa with 100 and something days.
Yeah, no, wow, that is quick.
That's, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's the closest thing to a rocket launch we have.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be doing here, we have Kansas becomes the 3rd state to launch mobile platforms in 2022.
Okay.
We have New York first, then Louisiana. As a matter of fact, it was New York January 8th, Louisiana January 28th, and it's been several months since somebody else has launched anything.
And it's not even all of Louisiana. It's certain,
Yes.
they call them parishes, but certain counties in
Well,
Louisiana.
Overall, the state launched mobile sports
Yeah.
betting January 28th. Also, Kansas was the 2nd state this year to legalize sports betting. Maine was first. Everyone forgets about Maine.
Yeah.
May 2nd. And then they also, the 3rd was Massachusetts on August 1st.
Okay.
Kansas beat Massachusetts
And
legalization.
I hope those states learn from Kansas. They did it right, and they did it quick. It doesn't
Yes.
it doesn't, if you're doing it right, doesn't mean you have to do it really, really, really slow. I
Right.
mean, you can implement things relatively quickly, and Kansas is showing that.
Well, Kansas, like I said, 2nd to legalize. Maine is looking at a launch mid-2023, possibly later.
Mid-2023, huh? Okay.
Possibly later, depending on how quickly they get their regulations all straightened out. And Massachusetts still will not put a time frame.
Okay.
I mean, they just did their notice of intent, or whatever you want to call it, if anybody wants to get a license, a mobile license,
Okay.
to show interest in getting a license. August 31st
All
is
right.
the deadline. So, but there's
No, that's come and gone, huh?
That's slowly moving. I don't know exactly how their time frame is going to work, but it will be interesting to see how quickly they launch once they get the regulations done. Again, you can't beat Kansas.
No.
And you had DraftKings, Caesars, BetMGM, FanDuel, and PointsBet and Barstool all launch
In Kansas. Okay.
on the first. They
Good
all
for
did the
them.
soft launch.
Good for them.
Matter of fact, I know Kansas Caesars had a little delay. They were one of the later ones to launch that day.
Okay.
But I also noticed the soft launch portion of all this before the official launch.
Mm-hmm.
The operators were only required to take bets on NFL, Major League Baseball, and college football.
Okay.
They couldn't do any other bets.
Okay.
So, but
So no
September 8th
table tennis
no.
or darts or
I don't-
rugby
I'm
or
very
anything
curious
like
to see
that?
if table tennis
No?
migrates over to Kansas.
No? Okay.
So I don't see a huge Kansas table tennis population.
Hey,
so
you never know.
you never know. I never would have thought Colorado and Oregon were big in table tennis either. But we'll see what happens there. But congratulations to Kansas, 31st state to become legal post PASPA, plus DC. So 32 jurisdictions right now post PASPA. That's it for the industry update segment. Let's finish up the show with our legislative roundup.
Okay.
Finishing up with the legislative roundup, we have news coming out of Massachusetts, New York, Maryland, even some Oregon news if we have time at the end here.
Okay.
Massachusetts, really nothing to report.
Okay, good. I'm glad you brought it
No,
up.
I'm kidding.
So-
I'm kidding. Massachusetts, as I mentioned in the previous segment, they had the notice of intent form that people wanted. If they wanted a mobile sports betting license, fill it in, get it in by August 31st. Doesn't guarantee a mobile license.
Okay. Do they have to pay a fee for the application or?
Well, the application, yes. For the notice of intent,
Oh, no.
yes,
Oh.
yes as well.
Oh, okay.
So-
All right.
42 entities responded to that notice of intent. So,
Well, sure.
very interesting list of entities. You have to check it out. There were some very different names. I know Bet Fanatics caught everyone's eye
Sure.
because it's the first time you've actually seen the formal name of the Fanatics Sportsbook.
Okay.
But the main characters were there: BetMGM, Caesars. Basically everybody you see everywhere else. I know there were a couple other ones that were very unique, and
it's easy enough to go look.
Well, hopefully it's not like Ohio Ohio that had a high school apply for a sports betting license.
As a matter of fact, I think
that's a little much. Okay,
I'm pretty sure with the way Massachusetts operates, you will not see it high school.
Well, and look, I'm all for responsible sports betting, but high schools probably should not have
first of all, we really have
license
to see
for sports betting.
Going to that Ohio high school, we really have to see what they actually intend, because I've seen reports where they have an off-site betting section. It has nothing to do with high school sports.
Okay, but
they're not betting on high school sports.
Well, okay, well,
and
still not sure how I feel about that.
And they do have some people who have experience in the sports betting industry behind that application.
Okay,
so
all right.
I don't know if it's got legs or whatever. But
I'm just saying, they could look at it. It could be responsible. I personally just don't feel comfortable with it. So,
but that's where we stand with Massachusetts. They're going to have more meetings and more roundtables as they go along here. New York, Senator Joseph Adabo was telling reporters that additional online operators, a reduced tax rate, and more betting options are all a possibility for the next legislative session. Everything's on the table.
He's a great senator. We've had him on the show.
Yes.
He's just a great advocate for this industry.
Maryland, the Maryland Sports Wagering Application Review Commission, SWARC, published a set of approved regulations in the Maryland Register. Everyone's got 30 days to comment on it.
Well, it looks like they're moving along.
They're finally moving along. But everything's starting to get together, and we'll see. I mean, they're still talking. Don't quote them. They keep saying this. Don't quote them by Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, all right.
I mean, after all this time, they're 500 days.
Well, that's
now.
always one of the benchmarks. It's always either the start of the NFL season, or it's the World Series, or it's the Super Bowl. It's one of those benchmarks that everyone.
Or March Madness.
March Madness is another one. March Madness is a little down the line, but
it'll be very interesting to see, because they are one of the slowest from legalization to launch, especially the online industry.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're approaching 500 days.
Okay.
For Maryland.
And how quickly was Kansas?
81.
See? Okay.
Blink of an eye compared to Maryland.
Yeah.
And last but not least, in Oregon, as you know, Oregon is basically just DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
After DraftKings took over the scoreboard app from Intralot. Right now in Oregon, the Oregon Joint Interim Committee on Gambling had a meeting, and they were joined by a organization called Sport Oregon, which are advocating for more gambling options in the state.
Good.
And Sport Oregon is made up of people like Nike, Adidas, and the Portland Trailblazers.
Okay, all right.
They got some advocating expansion of gambling options.
Good. They got
state.
Some clout. When they say expansion of gambling options,
want somebody else.
They want more sports, which is more sports books means better value to the customer. Yes. I mean, there's nothing like competition to bring the price down and bring the affordability and the bargains for customers.
Yes.
So I hope they get their wish. More sports betting operators in a state is good for the customers.
Yes. That's it for this week's Turnpike Sports Book Report. If you've been following along on TV, the ticker had even more news stories than we had the ability to do in the time allotted here. There'll also be the print version of the Turnpike Sports Book Report on the blog, turnpikesports.us. Go to the blog, and you'll see a full print version, which has even more stories that we don't have the ability to cover during the time allotted here. info@turnpikesportsradio.com is the email address to keep sending those press releases to us.
And that'll do for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.